Hello and welcome, folks, to a very special edition of RSF Radio. I am your host, and tonight I have a very special guest. You might know him from Cross Counter TV, or you might know him as perhaps one of the best Urians in America at one time. It is Ryan Gutierrez. Gootecks, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Joe Monday. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, and thank you for taking the time out of your day. A very busy schedule from what I know, because you've got an event to plan. Currently, you've got bar fights coming up, and it doesn't seem that's no small task. So what's going on? Oh yeah, one of many things that you're doing, of course. But that's coming up this Saturday. I was hoping that I could get you to talk. Well, yeah, next Saturday, the next Saturday of your life. For people who are listening to this as it comes out, there will be bar fights in Las Vegas this coming Saturday.
Yes. Yeah, so Bar Fights is the official EVO after party for night 2, which is Saturday, August 4th. We are going to be at the House of Blues at Mandalay Bay. It's free, and it's also a fundraiser, a charity fundraiser for Extra Life. Maybe people who are listening are familiar. Extra Life, I'm just reading for the website now. Extra Life unites thousands of players around the world in a 24-hour fundraising and gaming marathon to support the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, of which one of which is actually located here in Vegas, St. Rose Dominican. And so basically we're doing this event to help raise money for them, as well as, of course, to provide an entertaining after-party option for the people who attend EVO.
Yeah, place to go, things to see. I'm sure you've got a lot of announcements lined up and a lot of cool sets lined up for bar fights, but it's kind of an aside. Have you ever done the 24-hour charity for Extra Life?
Here's the thing. I start to deteriorate quickly around hour 20 of just being awake. No matter what I'm doing, I could be gaming, I could be doing nothing, and it still starts to deteriorate. So I haven't done a 24-hour stream or anything. I know that's very popular with some people, but what I have done 2 years ago actually is Reddit hit me up and asked me to be a part of their fundraising team. And so with just I don't remember. I mean, it was just like a few days of notice, I think, and I think I streamed for 6 hours on a Saturday once, and then raised. I think I raised over $2,000, just like me myself, just streaming from the office that we had at the time. And it was a lot of fun, and I was shocked at how many people donated. And so I don't recall the exact amount, but I know that I was in the top 3 or top 5 of Team Reddit, and then they sent me this really cool t-shirt. Dude,
yeah, I got one of those shirts. That year specifically was a very cool shirt, if I'm remembering correctly. It's got the one with it's like that orangish and blue teal colors.
Yeah, such a cool shirt. It's got some
really sick, a bunch of a smattering of game designs on it. Man, my wife stole that shit immediately. It's out of my hands and into her closet, and I'm like, man, all right, cool shirt though. No, that's been that has been always a good and fun experience for me. I think that Extra Life in general does a great job in sending and promoting their message. I did the 24 hours last year. Fuck, man, that was a nightmare.
Just by yourself?
Yes, just by myself. Because what we used to do was have blocks of people who can stream for out, and then I was like, you know what, fuck it, gonna do it all myself and see how this happens. And then I think it was hour 20 in, I played a game called Senua's Sacrifice or whatever. That's the subtitle to it. But with that game in particular, it plays with binaural audio that's supposed to fuck up with your head, and that was a mistake at hour 20. Oh man, yeah, I was it was causing me physical pain.
Oh wow.
I couldn't.
I gotta try this.
It was dude. It was, but don't do it at the tail end of a very long gaming marathon, because you like go back and watch the videos of that, which I think are archived in the YouTube channel, of me just like trying to talk over it so that I can't hear it because it was like really, it was so unsettling to me at the time. And I later played that game and it was like fine, but but at that,
once you round hour 20,
oof, no, that was not a safe time. Hey, kids, for your health, don't do that. Don't do
exactly. That. Do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah.
Binaural beats. Not even once.
Yeah, not even once. But anyway, back to the event though. So you've got a couple of things lined up so far, and a couple of things that what are you willing to talk about in terms of, who's going to be there? What's the showstoppers?
Well, here's the thing. So lots of what we have planned programming wise always seems to be last minute despite anybody's best efforts. So nothing is super confirmed right now because generally stuff will be confirmed throughout the week. But the one thing that I do know for sure, okay, sorry, there's two things I guess I know for sure. One is that shit, you know what? Like, I don't even know if I can talk about. You know what? I actually don't even know if I can talk about one of the things that I know for sure because I don't know if that's like super. I don't know if it's public info.
Yeah, you didn't sign an NDA, but you're also super not sure if that's okay.
Right. Gosh.
Let's just say there might be something there that people could enjoy.
Right. Okay. Well, let's talk about what we do know for sure.
Okay.
Which is that I reached out to you because this event is for the community by the community, and there are likely to be, when we look back on this event and maybe this particular podcast, anybody who goes to Evo and then sees what's also going on that night, maybe will understand why we're saying it's for the community, by the community. And because it's House of Blues and it holds a ton of people, we really need as many people there. And so I thought about, if we're making it a point to provide a platform for as many different communities within the fighting game community, RSF and you were the first ones that I thought about because you guys have done such a great job at building this resource over, I don't know how many years it's been. It's been several years.
Yeah. It's been like 5 years since I joined, and it's been longer than that. So,
wow, that's crazy. And I thought, hey, maybe it would be cool because I thought about it, and I thought about what worked well last year with bar fights. And last year, for those unfamiliar, the way that we generally try to structure it is not so much like a tournament because, well, we are smack dab in the middle of the biggest tournament of the year. And the original concept for bar fights was to create a main event. And for those unfamiliar, like, this is not the first, second, or third rodeo. I mean, the first time that we did this was 2009. And the concept was create a main event, a match that was main event worthy with an undercard similar to pro wrestling, MMA, boxing, and then use this sort of narrative to build hype over time. And so last year, the main event was Smug versus I'm Still the Daddy, and one of the undercard matches was Wednesday Night Fights versus Battle Circuit. And so I thought about it.
Which was a great set.
It was amazing.
Archived on Cross Counter TV?
It's...
Where's that stuff saved? It's hard to remember where things are on the internet.
Here's the fucked up part, is everything except for that match is on the YouTube channel. And because I think so here's the thing, like...
Oh, man.
We
oh, no.
It's... After Evo, like, everybody is exhausted.
Yeah.
And I think we had like a second camera that was like doing like player and crowd shots and stuff. So I think the original plan was to take the stream archive and then splice that in with the footage, and I'm pretty sure that never happened, and so maybe that match isn't even anywhere online. That's a strong possibility. I don't know.
Man.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, that match was awesome.
Yeah,
and
it really was.
And the thing about Smug versus I'm Still the Daddy was that even though it was the main event, it followed the Battle Circuit versus Wednesday Night Fights match, and because that match was so awesome and so hype, the main event, because it was kind of a blow up. I mean, I think Smug beat him like 10-1, so it was a little anticlimactic. And so in my thinking about what we were going to be doing this Saturday was like, well, maybe we should do more team stuff. And then I thought, well, maybe it would be more interesting, because here's the thing, like, team matches tend to, if you pick them right, like for example Wednesday Night Fights and Battle Circuit, right, you have different ways of looking at it, right? You have, of course, the two longest running weeklies in North America, and you have this sort of LA versus New York and East Coast versus West Coast angles going for it,
right?
And so I thought, okay, well, how do we do that but then more of that? And so I thought, well, how do we engage more communities on this? Because if we're trying to build a platform so that different communities can shine, then, I mean, as somebody who is, I don't know my cake Dave, but I've been on Reddit for a long time, ever since Dig version 3 or whatever, like, basically forced everybody to find a new home. So I'm a Reddit. There must be like a word for somebody who's like a Reddit addict or whatever that is. That's me. And but so like, I thought about you guys. Yeah, you guys are killing it.
Yeah, that's something that, man, like, been on Reddit for a long time, because like the internet is so, it's weird to think of the internet as old, but like 10 years ago, or like, that's not really that long a time in like the grand scale of things, but there's just things that are just gone from the internet from that long ago, or like, I mean, things internet that were, time is man, breakneck speeds, things that just don't exist anymore. Like when you say Dig, I'm like, yeah, like that was relevant at one point.
Like, it was super relevant, and then they just blew the whole thing.
Dude, yeah, it has me thinking about the old internet. Makes me smile in ways where I'm like, man, what a time, what a rodeo, what a Wild West that was, versus
it really
what
was
landed on today. But as you're saying, like, there's a lot more communities than just East Coast, West Coast.
Right, and it doesn't have to be. So in thinking about it, I was like, well, maybe it doesn't have to be team-based, or sorry, it doesn't have to be geographical, location-based. Maybe it can be, entity-based, or, online community-based. So I thought about you guys, and so, I reached out to you, and, you were interested, and so now, we'll have a RSF versus I'm not sure who yet. But I mean, we're
bringing a team. We're gonna roll deep.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me. Let's say it was 3v3, right?
3v3. I'd have to pick Neon from our team. El Chicote. And maybe Tiga.
Maybe we have to do 5-on-5.
Maybe I don't Tiga. Know. If it was 3v3.
Well, because you guys are sending 4 players, right?
We are sending 4 players.
And then you're going to be there.
I'll be there. A couple of the other mods will be there, and a lot of other people who just frequent the weekly that we run, though the weeklies that we run, I should say, will definitely be there. So like, there's other names other than the people who are sponsoring. There's also people who just have been around our Street Fighter for a long time and don't have their own local communities, let's say. So like, we have by and by become their local.
But yeah, exactly. You're the internet local.
Yeah, which is like a weird thing to think of. Like, that is kind of weird, where it's like we've had like a rotation of, let's say, it varies from like 60 to 40 players each week, and it's been a different number of players each week, and there's been a rotation of players who were like here for a while. Like iDrop used to be attend the RSF weeklies for like years ago, and has only recently come back with his Karen, and he's definitely improved over that time. In recent history, now he's just bodying these tournaments right now. It's just weird to see people kind of go through that revolving door of coming in, going out, and then maybe coming back later on. There's I can name a ton of players like that who've just been around, names that you recognize on the internet, you know, like it's just a lot of players like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person like that because I'm the one who like sees that from week to week. But like, there are a lot
that's
of
awesome. I mean, that just goes to show how long and consistent you guys have been with it.
There have been a lot of weekend warriors that have done pretty well, at least from my perspective, who just haven't really made it out to tournaments because of either like they work real jobs and can't find the time, or don't have the money. Whole slew of things. Bunch of college kids that turn up. It's actually funny. You can almost like see when college starts and ends with some players, where it's like, oh, like I don't have classes right now, so I'm like totally good to show up during this specific time, but like I won't be at it's that part's funny to me. But man, we're old now, you know. You don't have to worry about. Yeah, I don't have to worry about going to classes. I don't have a morning class on Tuesday. I just have fucking work to go to at 5 a.m. Fuck my life. No. But so you're working on a lineup. It will definitely be, or you're trying to at least make it community-based versus community-based, or maybe not even regionally. And that's cool. I mean, I feel like since if RSF is an internet-based community, maybe you guys need to fight another internet-based community. There's one in mind that perhaps could be a showrunner there, but Team R Kappa. But at the same time, I don't know if they play fighting games. I'm under the impression that perhaps they did. No, that's.
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Like that was it. I don't know if RSF versus R Kappa would draw like mostly the same people, and I've been so. I was out of town this weekend and haven't done anything, but I mean, they could be good. I think event hubs could be good. Even like a team SRK could be good, but nothing has happened yet. But it's okay. We'll find a suitable opponent. You know, if Kotaku didn't shut down. They shut down like Kotaku Compete recently, didn't they?
Yeah, that was just, man, dude. That was like, oh fuck, dude. Like reporting on fighting games on the internet. There was like a couple months there where it was just awful. Like Red Bull was like, "Hey, no more." The Kotaku was like, "Yeah, by the way, can't do it." It's like,
oh yeah,
gutted, man.
I mean, Yahoo Esports shut down too.
Yeah, Yahoo Esports shut down. Fuck, dude. It's crazy to me to think that, because I think that, man, we're living right now in a time where the games are so many and so good, and it's so easy to find competition. It's so easy. But, like, anyone who's doing any reporting on it is being like, oh, no, we gotta stop doing this. Like, even SRK was like, we gotta shut down the forum. Sorry, guys. It was just like, blow after blow, and it's just crazy to me to think that, you know, we've just moved on from all of these staples within the community to something else, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that when it comes to reporting, I mean, I'm just thinking about specifically, I guess, like Yahoo Esports, maybe Kotaku, but I'm talking about like when you see media outlets sending people, like physically sending people to events to do like video coverage, because I think even like ESPN No, I guess ESPN esports is still a thing. But it just seems like wildly expensive versus, let's say, covering just like, with like written articles and stuff online.
Right.
And so it's like when you're sending like a video crew, because like all these outlets, I mean, there's even some that that we didn't even mention that I know we're like sending people, and it's like that model, if you try to adapt the existing like tradition, like ball sports media outlet coverage of sending somebody
Typical
to an event,
reporting,
like it's like, well, esports is still new and fighting games are not the hot genre of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, like then, if you're reliant on, if your business is essentially advertising based, which most media outlets are, then you can be like, it only takes a few events, I'm pretty sure, until you're like, wait a minute, like
we ran out of money.
Expenses. Yeah, we ran out of money. Like, oh wait. Yeah. I was told that esports was the hot thing. I was told that esports, that there are 5 billion viewers for esports worldwide. Why the fuck aren't we getting the numbers on fighting game coverage? You know what? Pull the plug.
Hey man, if I was a man in a suit making business decisions, that's probably the decision I would make.
I can't wait till I'm in that. I can't wait till I'm the guy in the suit talking about like VR esports or some bullshit like that, and be like, yes, send the people, write the checks. It's gonna be huge.
Who's writing the check for that?
Yeah. Yes. So we're going all in on this VR.
Go after that Cheez-It money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll go get it. This segment brought to you by Cheez-Its, and then I'll be that guy, I just gotta hold on long enough, right? Die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, that's fuck. Yeah, I totally understand that. As someone who has like started to use off-kilter tactics to just get people to look at events and like good stuff that we have on RSF. I don't know if you noticed recently, but I've just been like, and it kills me every time I do it, but I'll find like a lady cosplayer who is
I did see that.
Not entirely lewd, but it's just a lady cosplayer.
Well, this is why your numbers are low, Joe.
I mean, that's
know
true.
Your audience, dude. Come on. Yeah. More lewds. You know what you need? You need like a you need to donate however much to get to the top tier of the Patreon donor levels, so you can get the lewds, but you got to donate enough to get them to take like an AMA style photo holding up like a piece of paper, but it's
holding
blank.
Up a newspaper. Yeah. It's a blank piece. Yeah. It's a blank piece of paper. That's so good, actually.
Okay, then you got to donate more money so you can get both.
Yeah,
right? So you get one with just the newspaper, and
one
then
that's time stamped.
Yeah, and then one that's blank, right? And the one that's blank, you just have to use that to put the information that you want people to see. So, the cosplay, whatever, the Patreon cosplayer of choice is holding up this thing that you can just reuse over and over that says, hey guys, like tune in to RSF on Monday and whatever.
You know what? That's a horrible but also great idea.
Oh my gosh.
That's such a bad idea. I'm totally going to go all in on that. Because it's not a bad idea. That's the thing. Like the numbers on that will far exceed anything where it's just like, here's the tournament post. If you want to come compete and like learn how to be a better player, like here we go. Like those hardly ever exceed like 10 to 20 upvotes, and the viewer count of those posts is like even hardly breaks like 1,000. But you do it on posts that have the lewds, and it's just through the roof. Like rookie numbers before, but now it's like it's astronomical.
It makes me think of this meme format that somehow really didn't survive, but it was like it was like a naked girl, like totally naked, like porn screenshot or like a totally naked photo, and then like in tiny little letters it would make some sort of very political statement about like, I don't know, war or like climate change or something super political, but it's just like super tiny font that you have to stare at this naked, like you can't help but stare at this naked girl, and then you see this little political message that's like down in lowercase letters, and you're like, they got me. Internet advertising at its finest. You're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome, everybody. Yeah. These are improvements to the new. This is the new RSF.
Yeah, that's because that's the thing.
That's how we transmit information now.
Yeah,
all future strategy guides are like written on naked girls.
Yeah, either naked girls or like funny gifs. I gotta get some like funny gifs of like dude gets hit in balls gif.
Yeah, exactly.
And like bear steps on rake and gets hit in nuts. Just reuse that one over and over again, and then just say, oh, by the way, also tournament signups inside. Check the comments for that.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just be farming the r/meme economy subreddit for all the latest and greatest meme formats, and those are your new banners. I mean, your new like advertising platforms.
Like, here's the thing: like, I'm smiling and laughing and joking about this, but also like dead serious about this. Like, to get people to interact, it takes that amount of low effort. I don't know. There's a part of that hurts my heart.
Here's the thing, though. Like, there's so many people. Like, fighting games reach so many people, and there's a lot of players, but most of them are so casual, or they aren't, they're not so casual. Or, they watch from afar. Maybe they watch streams every now and then, or they play like super casually, but they aren't able to either connect with other players locally, or they don't feel confident enough to compete even in a free online tournament. Mm-hmm. And I think that's this sort of fighting spirit that used to be present in art, or like more apparent in like the arcade days, is not lost, but still has a lot of areas. I mean, like, it has to be cultivated in more people, but now it's like the internet is just such a, like, the world is a much friendlier place than I remember it when I was like, back in my day when I was competing. Like, people talk shit to each other and told everybody that they suck, and like, that sort of, it sounds dumb. I mean, it might sound dumb to some people who are listening, but that is a pretty good motivator. But now we have to be, I mean, here, like, look at me, like, right now I'm like, oh yeah, we need to engage more online communities, like, let's let's be friendly. And I'm like, what the fuck,
dude? The messages have changed.
Yeah, before it was like, fuck this guy, or like, this entire area, this entire region sucks, like,
yeah. We're going to drive up to San Francisco and take all their money and then peace out.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think about like, definitely some of the stories that Alex Valles told me, when in a pre-social media, world, when, he would travel, and I'm sure back then it was like, I mean, of course we had like the internet, so you could do like messaging and stuff, but like, it wasn't, when you would read people's names on forums, like, there was no images, so essentially, like, guys like
IRC days, or
exactly, like
of like BBS
days.
all
alt.games.sf2 and like, he would tell me about how when they would travel, like, you don't really know who's gonna be there, and then he would win and then go spend their money. It's like, wow, I like that. But a lot of that is gone, and look at us now trying to raise money for charity. God.
Yeah. Yeah, trying to use. Oh man, what are we doing? What are we thinking? We got to put that in our own pockets.
That's fine.
No, it's for sick kids. It's actually, we joke, it's actually like a super good cause. And
yeah,
I don't want to detract from that. It's like, it's actually super awesome that is being tied to the charity. And I actually saw today, it's like, if you want to donate directly to the charity, and if you plan on going, you actually have to go to Eventbrite now, register now, right?
Yes.
That's kind of an important thing to talk about.
Yes, please. I mean, it's a free event, but we still are trying to get like people to RSVP. You could just go to barfights.crosscounter.tv. It is a free event, but there's we're trying to get people to RSVP that way. That way we know how many people are coming. But yeah, so I mean, you guys' match will be good. We want to have a Twitch streamer versus Twitch streamer match. That should be interesting. We're gonna have some of the members of Team Cygames Beast in attendance, and there will be community-based team matches. I'm sure we'll have a few one-on-one matches. There'll be, and it's all to raise money for a good cause. Yeah, and to entertain the people.
Like, there'll be a lot of people there. So if you are listening to this and you're like, well, how do I even get in touch with like Chris Tatarian or any number of, or I don't know, will Daigo be there? I don't know. That's a good question.
Let's see. Who knows?
Who knows?
Well,
who knows what anyone's schedule will be like? Because
right. Because here's the thing, right? So one of the challenges in creating programming for bar fights specifically is that, okay, well, Saturday night is the night before finals, so, and we don't really know exactly how, like, obviously we don't know who's gonna make it into top 8 and who won't make it into top 8. So lots of people are going to be, like some of the guys that you expect and also expect of themselves to make top 8 are likely to be the ones that are arguably the biggest draws, but also could easily have a very important day coming up the next day on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, the event goes to 2 a.m. and it's like, well, what timer pulls the next day? Yeah,
I mean, last year though we did the Punk Open Challenge, and he made it into top 8, and he played a bunch of people from the crowd, and he made it all the way to grand finals. So I'm gonna say that he had good karma and good luck because he was playing the night before.
He wasn't he wasn't out partying the night before. He was playing. It was it is a party, but it's also if you want to play and be serious, like, that also has that too.
Yes.
You don't have to drink. It is a plus 21 event, I saw.
Oh, no, it's 18 plus.
Oh, okay. It does say that on the Eventbrite then.
If it doesn't, then we need to fix that ASAP. But we got physical tickets printed, from
good to know,
like from Ticketmaster, and those say 18 plus. It's crazy, man. Like, I've bought so many tickets through Ticketmaster, and now now I'm part of the
die the hero or live long enough to become a
now I'm the villain. Take that though, Ticketmaster. You don't make a fucking dime off of us because we're
$0. That's right, bitch.
Yeah, bitch. How much were these tickets to print?
Oh, and they're still scalping them. What?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. No, it's gonna be cool because we have stuff. I mean, dude, there's so much going on this weekend or this coming week. I mean, in addition to bar fights, I mean, I'm going to be at the Z and I are hosting the Cygames booth, so we're going to be doing some on-stage activity, which is going to include a Team Cygames Beast Open Challenge, but and then also doing a bunch of IRL streaming from the show floor. And then we're Cross Counter is doing the stream for the Press Start Gaming Classic at GameWorks, which is Thursday night. It's on Las Vegas Boulevard, but I wouldn't consider it like on the strip. For those that are unfamiliar, maybe going to Vegas for the first time, Mandalay Bay is like the south end of the strip, and then GameWorks is even souther, more south.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, but there's shuttles going back and forth between Mandalay Bay and GameWorks,
Okay,
and so that's like the pre-Evo tournament, and then
is that on what day was that?
Thursday. Night 0.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and you can just look up the event. If you just type it into Facebook, PSG Classic, you'll find it. So we're doing the stream for that, and then we're also partnering with the Hawaiian FGC to provide the stream for the Sea Salt Suite, which is going to be running after hours Wednesday through Sunday-ish. So we got a lot going on this week. It's gonna be crazy. I'm terrified and excited.
And
hopefully
all the pieces are not yet in place, of course. So that's just another reason to be on edge. I can understand that much.
Yeah, I mean, bar fights is the biggest priority, and arguably one of the biggest risks / gambles that I've taken in my adult life.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh. All right then.
So it's like, yeah, now I'm like totally freaking out. No, it's fine.
Yeah, don't let me put you on edge there. I'm trying to build you up, man. It's gonna be a good event. It'll be fine.
We're all gonna be dead soon, anyways. It doesn't matter whether it works or not. We're just talking monkeys on a fucking,
I really only give us 20 more years, honestly. So it's
exactly. It's fine. We're gonna look back on this later and laugh one way or the other. Be like, "Wow, we were so dumb.
Yeah, we were worrying about the wrong things." Apparently,
right.
Galapagos turtles, though, we had to worry about those. Weird that we didn't think to worry about them, but then they just turned on us hard.
Exactly. They rose up.
The weird future that we live in. No. All right, so you got that coming up. Very excited. Is there anything else that you want to spin off of? Anything else that you have going on? I know you kind of talked about everything you have this week, but anything else?
I mean, we'll be doing, I guess one of the parts that I'm like kind of excited. Oh wait. To record a voice memo. Okay, Alexa's reminding me. I don't know, but I've been playing. I've entered into the Alexa ecosystem, and so now I talk to her and tell her to remind me stuff like "Don't be a dick." It's like the daily reminder at like 3 p.m.
Okay.
Don't be a dickhead. Yeah, no.
Remind me.
She'll remind me. Yeah, I need a reminder. Otherwise, I just revert to old gootecks.
Yeah. Yeah, you turn into IRC gootecks, and it's just another thing.
Ooh, I know. Well, here's the thing. Like I've learned the hard way to be more diplomatic in the way that I interact with people in my old age. But yeah, I don't know. I'm slightly excited and kind of nervous about doing IRL streaming from the convention floor. Actually, last year I didn't even make it into the convention itself, or
really?
to the. See, I keep calling it a show and a convention when I know it's a fucking tournament. But every year, Evo gets more and more like a convention in a good way.
Yeah.
Every year.
I know that feeling though, because I find myself keep calling it like, "Oh, I'm gonna be down on the show floor."
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the show floor, but really, it's like the tournament, like down to see who drowned in pools.
It's like it's the biggest fighting game tournament there is, but also I call it the show floor because, the way that it's even divided, it's only half of it is dedicated to the actual tournament, and the other half is dedicated to booths. And I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like this year, but like there's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on half of
I mean there's
the show floor.
Yeah, there's panels, there's booths,
panels like in different rooms, like not even on the show floor. Yeah, it is buck wild how big it's gotten.
No, I mean it's amazing. This is year number 16 in a row of Evo for me, and I'm not I'm not competing. I didn't enter anything, but maybe, who knows? Maybe, who knows? But yeah, well, here's
sounds
the thing.
so defeated already.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, Evo is kind of like this Super Bowl. It's kind of like the halfway point, right? Because the year is kind of divided. The FGC fiscal year is kind of divided into like two halves, right? Like Evo and then Capcom Cup. So this is kind of like the end of the fiscal year in a way.
This is Q2.
Yeah.
Of the year.
And yeah, and I don't know. It's like there's so many other players that have way more time and drive to compete in Street Fighter V. So I just recently just decided that I don't really care.
Yeah, dude. Trust me, dude. There's no shame in that. Like I'm competing, but I have no faith in my ability to like beat anybody. It's because even if you are involved in the community in like anything more than being just a player, I want to say it is pretty much impossible to actually be competitive against professional players.
Yes.
Like in any capacity. Because just the time that you have to spend on worrying about things that aren't actually fighting games, even though the thing that you're working on is fighting games. Like, those two things are not.
Whether it's the weekly. Yeah, whether it's the weekly or doing the podcast or writing your book or whatever, like there's so much. But here's the thing, like I think at some point in the near future, I think that there will be a senior division. Because when you look at
I kind of agree with you. I laugh, but I don't know if I would call it senior division. I would maybe just say like
tax bracket division.
Yeah, okay. Yep. I laugh, but that works. That plays.
You're gonna have to fill out like a 10 question form that talks, where you have to like, submit your taxes, or you gotta like show, proof of income, or like what your job is or something. And if you don't have these things, like you can't enter. Sorry. But here's the thing. I actually feel like the senior division would have a higher entry point, right? So maybe like, normal tournaments, $5, $10, or, whatever, like, get your Evo badge and then, whatever, $10, $20 a game. But I feel like the senior division could also be like, okay, well, this is the, it's more expensive, because everybody here, in theory is making more money, and, you got to make it interesting somehow. Can't just be a bunch of old people.
I am 100% behind that. I actually feel like there is a lacking in the FGC in the sub-pro level of player, where there's no, all of the sponsorship money is funneled all the way to the top. None of it funnels down to any layer below top layer. And then like you don't have any support at that layer. And then even below that, there's any money or anything that's being put into any layer below that is basically all out of pocket from anyone who is trying to do works in that area. So like the bottom's going to fall out eventually.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, the current model of esports teams with their ginormous amounts of venture capital and whatever, at some point the bubble will burst, or at least deflate, as every emerging industry does. And then what's going to happen is a lot of teams, like big esports teams, are going to lose either their funding through VC money, or they're going to lose their big corporate sponsors. And then everything is going to take like it's going to seem like it's a step back, but it's a necessary step for growth. In the same way that in the mid-90s, you had the dot-com bubble, which burst, but just because it burst didn't mean the internet went away. It just meant that not everybody was going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I foresee the same thing happening in esports and thus fighting games, which means that we're all going to have to find a better, you know, a good model of sustainability.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of those models, I guess, is you know, what you guys and Arcaba have done with, you know, raising money, you know, to send certain players to different events.
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Now, if we could get some kind of, I don't know, maybe I don't think it makes sense for us because there's weird laws with Reddit and other outside corporate interests. But like, if someone like us, for example, could get some kind of extra, even not corporate sponsorship, but even like a local sponsorship, I think would be. I mean, it's easy. Esports hasn't made it that far. It's not that ubiquitous to say like you're, for example, what I liken it to is like when I grew up, my Little League team was sponsored by the local trash company.
Yes.
Like, why can't we have that for esports?
Yep. Exactly. That's where
it's going to be on a local level.
Yes, exactly. I went to the X Live esports conference shortly after I had been thinking about regionalized esports, and this was like this is the X Live esports conference for those that aren't familiar. I mean, I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't even know this shit is going on, but there's lots of these esports like conferences that have panels with like big esports suits or whatever, talking about how, you know, esports is the next big thing and how to get involved as a brand and blah blah blah, all this shit. And there were multiple panels about regionalized esports, so I was like, okay, great, like I'm not crazy, I'm not the only one that thinks it's going to go that way. And I think that that's the stronger long-term play, because there, as esports grows, it's going to be more and more common, and there's going to be more local businesses, not like the big ginormous existing endemic sponsors that you're seeing right now, but you know, it's going to be like, you know, like mom and pop pizza joints, or
like,
you know,
the meat packing company.
Yeah, or like, you know, like clothing companies. It's, you know, it's not
it's not limited to Doritos or Cheez-Its.
Right. No, it doesn't have to be. It's just like those are the people that have, those are the entities that have that big corporate money right now. But the thing is, as it starts to grow on a local level, it's not, to me, it's not a stretch to get, you know, local businesses like restaurants and, you know, whatever, to sponsor in some way, you know, because here's the thing, it's super expensive to just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna sponsor this team of like 5 players to go travel the world and represent our brand. It's like, well, how the fuck how do you even track ROI on that, you know, versus, oh well, you know, we're like a local restaurant and, you know, it's like promoted on like the local scenes stream every week or every other week, and then you know, they sponsor loosely, you know, like a player or something to like go,
just like a little bit of extra money into something where it's like, I know that this is going directly to people who will at least be around my business or know about my business, and then they'll have more of an incentive to use my business. Like Sam's Subs Shop, I'm way more likely to get lunch from a place that sponsors my local than I am to go anywhere else, for example.
Yeah, and that makes me think of, you know, in thinking about like localized esports, I was in Portland a couple months ago and then met the dudes from Battle Lounge. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Yeah, so like these guys, for those that aren't familiar, these guys are running a weekly out of one of the guys' apartments, and I went, and you know, they got like 25-30 people packed in there with a bunch of setups and arcade machines, and you know, they're able to stream and stuff. But when they do their tournaments, it's like this spot called Blackwater, I think. It's like a punk rock bar or something, and then they also get like the taco spot, like some local taco spot that one of the guys works at, and they sponsor as well. It's like, dude, like that's the type of stuff that gets me excited, you know, because I'm like, yes, this is the natural progression of things.
Yes.
And that it's super exciting to see, and it's like I want to do what I can to help to cultivate that. I mean, especially here in Vegas now, because now I'm here.
Yeah, that's kind of turned into a, for lack of better word, esports hub within the U.S.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing about Vegas is like unless you don't think that esports, I think esports has to get a lot bigger before it gets any smaller, right?
Sure.
And if you think about it, like where else, Vegas is like the perfect hub for it. It's a place that's, you know, at least in North America, is pretty easy.
Flights are cheaper there.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not, you know, and cost of living out here is much lower than, you know, up in the Bay or LA. And if there are two things that Vegas understands, it's fighting and gambling.
Yeah, if you want to book a promo, like an old boxing fight, guess what? That shit's all over the place.
Exactly. And, you know, so I think that esports is going to grow here. And so far, I mean, it seems like the battle royale genre is going to be, it is like what's super successful here. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I've heard just through the grapevine is that one of the issues with the battle royale genre, or specifically like Fortnite, is that even though it'll bring a lot of people, a lot of them are actual like underage children, right? You know, so it's like, okay, great, like we got these like 10-year-olds, right?
That's funny.
And we can, you know, we got 100 10-year-olds to show. I'm just being an asshole. And obviously there's, you know, people of all different ages playing Fortnite that will go to a Fortnite thing in Vegas, but because of the nature of Fortnite itself, you know, it has a significantly younger audience. So it's like, okay, well, got all these kids showing up, probably also with their parents who are, you know, going to be older, but, you know, and so you can groom children with the idea of playing in competitive games in Vegas, you know, for like 5-10 years from now.
Right.
But what do you do in the meantime? And and just the nature of Vegas and its history with boxing, MMA, and even pro wrestling, you know, it lends itself so well, and one-on-one fighting games lend themselves so well to this particular market that it just seems like that's the natural progression. So I felt like, well, I got to be here if I want to make the best of it.
That's smart. That's a smart decision to see where the market is, I would say, likely to move in the next 5 years. It's like a 5-year look ahead, I think. Maybe even further out than that.
Yeah, because here's the thing, like the battle royale genre is, you know, it's the hotness right now.
Right.
But, and it did kind of come out of nowhere, I guess, to an extent, but I just think that
PUBG was popular, and then Battle Royale like was a whole different game before it actually became Battle Royale, and I don't think anyone saw it coming.
Yeah, and I think now, you know, it's going to go through a life cycle, and then I think everybody is going to look to see what's next. And you know, the MOBA genre, I mean, you know, first you had like RTS, FPS, MOBA, and now Battle Royale. It's like, well, one of these genres at some point people are going to be like, what's next? And at some point it'll be fighting games.
I feel like the MOBA genre is different because of the communities that those particular games are tied into. Specifically like with Dota 2, where it is so tied into like Steam already. Or not Steam, like they have the money, right? And like they use in-game purchases to continue on like the international and stuff like that. Different I don't know. I feel like that is a different market than other types of esports games, but that's another conversation. I obviously cannot speak intelligently about those types of games. Not in it. Not my cup of tea. But no, I'm in full agreement there. Vegas seems to be the place where it's at, and I think that speaking of grassroots efforts and what things are, or what things can look like on a local level, here's a blast from the past I wanted to talk about. So do you remember SBO, and do you remember way back in the day? I remember when I brought this up to you before the show, your reaction was priceless, and I can't recreate that, but Denjin Video Podcast?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that was the Denjin Video, or sorry, the Family Fun Arcade Third Strike ranking battle videos and the Denjin Video Podcast were like my first two forays into content creation back in like the 2006 to 2008 era. And it's crazy that you bring that up, because it was literally like 10 years ago, where, you know, I started the podcast. First there was the Denjin Video, there were the videos, and then we did the Axe Doctor Sub-Zero podcast, and then I did my own podcast, which was just the Street Fighter podcast. And then when me, Justin Wong, and this other dude from New York, KO Fiend, qualified for SBO, it was like every year prior to that, the hosting arcade would cover the travel expenses of the team that qualified. And that year, I think that was like super hardcore, like recession time, but no, I don't know, the tickets weren't, the travel expenses weren't covered. And so I had this idea to take to do the Street Fighter podcast, and then talk with at the time top Third Strike players, and then at the end, you know, ask people for money so that we could go represent America
right.
SBO, which at the time was the most prestigious tournament in Japan.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, basically the origin of that is kind of what we've been talking about, is a grassroots effort from a local community to, I guess not at that point. It wasn't really local at that point, was it? I mean, what was the distribution at that time?
The distribution of like listeners?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it was probably
different time.
Yeah. Okay. So back in the day, you didn't know. Back in my day,
I mean, there's no
who was listening to anything.
There's no Matcherino. There's no GoFundMe's. There's no Teesprings that you could tap into to get any kind of financial aid. None of that.
Nope. Just like good old fashioned PayPal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which like existed back then.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I don't particularly enjoy that, like the donation model anymore. For my stuff, right. You know, but you know, when it comes to, you know, raising money for charity, that's totally different. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that 10 years ago, that was the topic of conversation, literally 10 years ago, because I remember that was the year that Evo was at Tropicana. And yeah, shortly after Evo, then it was boom, off to Japan, thanks to everybody that, you know, helped to support. It was, God, I can't believe how long ago that was. Time passes, time waits for no one.
No, yeah, like thinking like 10 years back, that must seem like forever, but it's still the same community in a lot of ways. Like,
same shit, different toilet.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Still having people like the efforts that our Street Fighter is doing right now of I mean, we are sending 4 players strictly through donations and t-shirts.
Amazing.
I didn't think we'd be able to send 4 players. I thought we'd probably be able to send 2, but like 4 was a huge stretch, and I'm like blown away that like that was even a possibility.
How did you guys select the players?
All of it was through. There was a nomination stage and then a voting stage. So anyone can nominate any player. All the mods stayed out of it because there would be like, I don't know, I just didn't want to have that. I didn't want to have any, like, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? No collusion, I suppose. In any way, I don't want any kind of interest to be crossed. So just the entire community, anyone could nominate any player from anywhere. All of those names got put on a list. Everyone voted on that list, and then I pulled the top 4.
How did you guys do the votes?
I did it through just Google Forms. And I specifically did that to also get like an email list of just to keep people up to date on what's going on, because some people, like if it's on Reddit and it's just a sticky comment, you don't visit our Street Fighter, you might not see it. So it just makes sense to just let people know, hey, this is available, this is what's going on, if they wanted to. But also, in the past, we've done other things, like we've used a number of different voting systems, and this time just trying to find something that works, I suppose. We've used, I forget the name of the site, but it basically forced you to vote, like rank every single player, and that gave us a much more like accurate list of like who wanted who to be on top, but also you had to go through and physically rank like 30 or so players, and that's just which is a huge ask to the normal person who just wants to say, I want Neon to go. No one else, but I have to rank all these people, most of which I don't know about or know who they are. So it's
so how did you guys raise the money?
Through a combined effort of Matcherino and Teespring. We have some good artists on our mod team with Quasimodo X and Mellow Digital, and they did all of the teas. And also, I should say that anything that like the Teespring will just continue to be open for as long as we run sponsorships. So like it'll be open like after Evo, and that'll just go into like a side thing that the next one that we run, the money will go towards the next player. Until eventually, until eventually in the future, whenever this stops or like I die or something, because that would be problematic. I mean, there's always that say, like if I like die in a car accident, it's like, well, what happens now? I actually don't know what would happen next.
Right.
Tell my wife.
You're gonna have to raid your pay. Yeah. This is Monday.
Yeah. Go to this location. Pull all the money. Don't give it to the community. Take it all. No.
Bury me with it.
Bury me with my money. Bury me with my Bitcoin. This could play on that. So all of that through. By the way, Matcherino, I don't know if you've worked with them at all, but they're one of the first communities or online esports communities that actually gives a fuck about the fighting game community in any capacity, or at least has conformed their model to what the FGC model typically is, and not the other way around of here's what our esports model is and let's fit that, let's use this fighting game community. Matcherino has been really good about that, so I have only glowing reviews with Matcherino, and their payout times are instant, so no complaints there. But yeah, just strictly through donations and through t-shirt sales.
So when it comes to the donations from Matcherino, is that something you guys are promoting that during the weeklies, right?
That's correct.
So how does that work? Do you have something that scrolls or prompts people to perform an action, and then that adds to the pot, or people donate money? Because I've seen it both ways. Sign up and then use this code or whatever, and then it's 50 cents or $1 or something. But
yeah, all of that stuff is through Matcherino, and they do a whole bunch of different stuff. That works for events where you could have to like sign up and then use a code. But for us, they were actually really generous and set up a thing where, because it's like a brand new thing with their system, and they were like, well, we're going to see if this works, and hopefully it does. Basically set up like a retweet thing on the sidebar where it's like, if you just retweet this, you'll get like the 20 cents basically donated from Matcherino just to help get the word out. And that's just strictly on, like, they just donated that money, like up to a certain point. But like, it's just like free money for free promotion from them. Like, that's the kind of stuff that they do, where they're just like, they're putting their bets into the FGC, I want to say. Or at least they're pushing stacks into it, and I appreciate them for that. But it also works like NLBC does. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, worth talking to if you want to talk to them. I mean, granted, you're also working with Extra Life, so I don't know what that looks like on your end, but there could be some ticketing.
Well, we can, yeah, I mean, if we can figure something out with them so that you know, people could, if they didn't have money to send, but they could complete some sort of action that could generate some revenue, then to go to Extra Life, then that would be a good look for everybody.
Yeah, I think so. I will send a message after we start recording.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So like, when you're streaming, does it track like, do you have something like within the stream that will show like the current donations?
I don't have a live tracker for the stream. I could, like for Extra Life, I did, but that's just set up through like the tools that they use. I can actually switch it to my Extra Life thing right now for the video portion, because I do video and audio. Most people listen to the audio, but like I use the same stream setup for, or at least the same XSplit for video recording. I could just flip it to the Extra Life. I wonder if it would probably bust if I did, so I'm not going to do that. But it'll probably keep like have the tracker going, and it'll say like 150 days on the counter because it just started counting at the time that I started. I don't know. It could be worth looking into that stuff. Their tools are actually really easy to use and figure out. So again, shout outs to Extra Life to like, they have figured that out. Like if you have an Extra Life page that you are donating to, like there's a whole, like, you just copy and paste the code in there and it just works.
Oh, all right, good. Yes, we're gonna need that. Because here's the thing, like I was just partner with Extra Life, but I didn't think about like the details.
Oh yeah, no, they make it fairly easy, which again is another reason why I think that they're a great charity resource, because they make it so easy for people like you and me who just willing to donate some time basically on our part, and at least some effort and money investment on your part up front. But for a charity like that is commendable, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey, I mean, here's the thing. We are likely anybody who's listening to this is fortunate enough to be able to be in a position where we can allocate a large chunk of our time, or have allocated at some point a large chunk of our time to playing fighting games, which basically assumes that, you know, we live in the first world, and like, yeah, like we're all up in the struggle, but it could be way worse, you know? And so we are fortunate enough, and it's important to be able to enjoy not just fighting games, which, you know, gaming in general. And we're, you know, not everybody is so lucky. And there are, you know, kids in pain, families in pain, because they are not so fortunate. So, you know, it's like it's a good opportunity to, you know, do something worthwhile for people that don't have it as good.
Yeah, no, 100%. Within the community that you're a part of, if you are able to help out, highly encouraged. That's a good message to end on, I think. Unless there's anything else that you would like to bring up topic-wise, or anything else you'd want to pitch again before we do our closing bits. Yeah, just tune in to Bar Fights Saturday night, August 4th. It'll be on live.crosscounter.tv. Okay. If you are anywhere within driving distance of Vegas and you're not there, then, you know, damn, that's unfortunate.
But yeah, it's a free event, and you can just RSVP at barfights.crosscounter.tv.
All right, I'll have all of those links in the show notes for anyone who is listening. But also, before I let you go, I have to ask you 2 specific questions that I ask any guest anytime it's their first time on the show. It's just something I've continued to do, and I will continue to do because I think it's a fun question.
Sure.
The first question is, what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game?
My favorite normal attack in any fighting game.
Mm-hmm. For me, for example, I like to use Zangief's standing heavy punch in Street Fighter 4, specifically because if I ever hit you with it, you fucked up. And if it's a counter hit, I get a combo that's like a really tight link, which I love and appreciate. And it just looks violent, and I love it for that.
My favorite normal. Gosh. I mean, there's so many to choose from.
It's very complex. You could go the safe route and just say, oh, I like the reuse crouching medium kick. That's a utility normal. A lot to do with it. Unless you're playing Street Fighter 5, and then maybe not so much.
I guess it would be, God, a favorite normal.
Not limited to Street Fighter either. Could be any fighting game.
Unfortunately, I don't know. I'm incapable of playing anything else. You know what? It would probably have to be a toss-up. You know what's super satisfying? God. Man, that's a tough question. I think that...
Gonna lock you in forever on this question, so be sure to answer correctly.
God, why is that so hard? It's like, okay.
You can have a list. You could have a list of normals.
Okay. All right.
You don't have to stick to.
normals.
Okay, top 5 is fine.
Top 5 normals.
In no order.
Yuri, in no particular order. Urian's Crouching Fierce in Third Strike or Street Fighter 5 because it leads to so much. And
obviously, yeah.
Whiffing throws in Third Strike was something that I had the terrible habit of doing. And so I was able to perpetuate the cycle of abuse in Street Fighter 4 by making people whiff throws. So the cycle of abuse continued. So it's a toss between that and then Ken's crouching medium punch linking into super and Third Strike is just so weirdly satisfying for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah. And then and Ryu's sweep in hyper fighting or ST because you can cancel into fireball. And of course, who can forget Guile's crouching medium kick in any of the Street Fighter 2 series because it's so far
Just
and so fast.
Normal, yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe I only have 4. Oh, and then Rose's close medium kick, the hop kick in Street Fighter 4. Oh man, that's so good. It's cancelable.
So yeah. Can't throw it.
Yeah.
So good. No, that's a good list of normals. I dig it.
And Manat's standing fierce.
Really? The stand fierce.
Oh.
I mean, I get it. It's kind of busted.
She's great. Oh my god.
I get it.
In a parallel universe, in a parallel universe when she came out, I just played her to death and then went on a totally different path. But unfortunately, in this universe, that's not the case.
There's no time for that.
Yeah.
All right. So then, a good list of normals. I like it. The good reason, just as so long as you have a reason for every normal, I think is the main meat of that question. To which then I have my next question. A little bit more in depth. What is your favorite combo in any fighting game? Could be one that you can't even do yourself.
The favorite combo, I would say, here one that I can't even do myself is any of the crazy Monat combos involving her V trigger. Those are so satisfying to look at.
Yeah, ones that start with an instant overhead. Where it's just like, God didn't intend for people to block that, so you're just
exactly.
I'm sorry.
I would say that the other one that comes to mind isn't. It's a toss up between Urian's. In third strike, Urian can do in the corner, can do down fierce tackle headbutt, or you can do tackle into Aegis Reflector into this unblockable setup with the knee drop, and which goes into like even more damage into tackle headbutt,
right? Which like effectively ends the round.
Yeah, or there's also like, it's not really a combo, but it's probably like my favorite situation. Which is to put the Aegis in front of them and then force like this sort of high-low mix-up, or you can put them in blocks, then put the Aegis out, and then it's again a high-low mix-up into like tackle headbutt.
Right.
That's like that's probably that's the favorite.
That's your bread and butter, right? That's the money maker right there.
It is. Yes. Oh my God, made so much money with that. After CEO, got third place out of 90 people. Won, dude, no joke. I won more money playing Third Strike that day than I had in my entire fighting game career.
Oh man.
I think I won $120. But here's the thing: money won is the exchange rate between money won and money earned is like 10x. So technically, in my mind, I was that $120 was really more like $1,200 to me. That's what it felt like. It only bought $120 worth of like pizza and drinks, but damn, that shit was delicious.
Oh yeah,
the sweet
absolutely.
taste of victory is worth more than any sort of money that you could make.
Yeah,
through conventional means. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Good answers. Appreciate you putting the thought into those, springing them on you like that. But all right, that will do it for the show then. I will end this show by asking where can people find you on the internet if they don't know how to do that already.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at gootecks. Watch bar fights at live.crosscounter.tv Saturday, August 4th, coming to you live from the House of Blues at Mandalay Bay. It's free. It's the official Evo after party for that night. And it's for Extra Life, which is a great cause. So I really hope that everybody can make it. And hopefully everybody can watch the PSG Classic, which will be on live.crosscounter.tv. Somebody's getting killed. Live.crosscounter.tv on and then the Sea Salt Suite also will be. This is all going to be like Pacific time, but that'll be going after hours Wednesday through Sunday ish. So hopefully everybody can tune into one or more of those, and if they are coming to Evo, be great to see everybody at bar fights, and it'll be great to see you, Joe Monday.
I will be there. Correct.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the event. Cannot wait.
Yes.
We'll do the show floor fist bump, because don't shake hands at conventions, folks. Keep yourself safe.
Yeah. Safety third, kids. Yeah. Fist bumps, elbow bumps.
Yeah.
Yep.
I get it.
Wash your hands.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I love the feeling of a good, solid handshake. None can be better, but don't want to risk it, folks.
Nope. Stakes are too high.
Yeah, the stakes are too high. A lot of money on the line.
Yeah.
All right. You can find me at Super Joe Monday on Twitter or Joe_Monday on Reddit. Or if you just want to talk to the show directly, you can hit up Reddit SF on Twitter. That's the official Twitter account for the fucking subreddit. So it's that for a thing. All right, folks, that is a show. Catch the normal show every Thursday. Or catch our tournaments, which take place on Mondays and Fridays. Mondays on the East Coast, Fridays on the West Coast. But until then, I'll see you guys. Actually, now that I fucking think about it, I'm probably not going to be doing a tournament on Friday or the next Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm not going to be available. It's not happening, so cancel that. Only one tournament on Monday, and then the next one will be the following Friday. But that's whatever. We'll send out messages. You guys will know. But until then, folks, take care. That's the show. Peace.